My name is Maya Collins. I was 26 years old, a social media influencer with millions of followers around the world. My life was a whirlwind of flashing cameras, sponsored trips, luxury cars, and constant validation from strangers on screens. I was chasing the dream everyone envied, a perfect life broadcasted in high definition. But behind the filters and smiling selfies, I was exhausted, empty, lonely. I convinced myself the applause and likes would fill the void, but every notification was just another echo in a hollow room. I craved something real but didn't know where to find it. Then came the day that changed everything. I was on a private jet rushing to the next city, the next event, the next sponsored moment. We were cruising high above the clouds when a sudden jolt shook the plane violently. The engines sputtered. Alarms blared. I remember screaming. Not from fear, because deep down I was numb, but from shock. The world tilted. Time slowed. And then darkness. The crash was brutal. The sound of metal twisting, the smell of smoke, the sudden, devastating silence that followed. I was declared dead at the scene. No heartbeat, no breath, no signs of life. For what felt like an eternity, I was gone. But what I experienced next was beyond anything I could have imagined. I awoke not to darkness or void, but to light. Light so pure, so warm, it felt like love itself was breathing around me. And standing there was someone I never expected. As the blinding light wrapped around me, I expected judgment, fear, or even anger. After all, I had lived for likes and followers, not for God. I was sure I had wasted my life chasing empty things. But then I saw him, not a distant, stern judge, but a man pierced, radiant, and alive. His eyes weren't filled with wrath, they overflowed with unconditional love. His gaze pierced my soul, and yet welcomed me like a long-lost child returning home. It was Jesus. I could feel his love like a tidal wave washing over every part of me, parts I tried to hide from the world and even from myself. Every lie I told about who I was, every time I covered my pain with a smile. And he wept, not because I was condemned, but because he knew how much I had suffered alone. "Maya," he said softly, "I see you. I see every moment you felt invisible, every tear you hid behind your posts." I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by the depth of his mercy. I wanted to run, to hide, to ask why someone like him would care about someone like me. He reached out his hand and gently lifted me. "You were made for more than screens and applause. You were made for love that never fades." I wanted to stay in that light forever, to be healed, to be loved. But Jesus had more to show me. "Come," he said. "There is something you must understand about the life you left and the life you must live when you return." What he revealed next shattered everything I thought I knew about success, happiness, and what truly matters. Jesus led me gently through the memories of my life, not the highlights I shared with millions, but the moments no one ever saw. The nights I cried alone, the days I felt utterly lost despite all the applause. I saw myself chasing validation, constantly hungry for more likes, more followers, more attention, but always feeling emptier inside. I saw the sacrifices I made, the friendships I let go, the authentic moments I buried beneath curated posts, the lies I told myself to keep going. I saw how my identity became tangled with my online persona, and how I began to fear the silence when the screens were off. But what hurt most was seeing how I had forgotten to love myself, how I ignored the ache in my soul because it didn't look good on camera. Through it all, Jesus stood beside me, never condemning, only loving. He whispered, "You were never made to live behind a mask. You were made to live fully, deeply, and truly loved." I realized then that all the followers in the world couldn't fill the void that only his love could. Tears streamed down my face, not for the life I lost, but for the life I hadn't yet found. Then Jesus showed me the cross, not as a symbol, but as the proof of the love that had been waiting for me all along, the love that would break every chain I had. He said, Because I died for you, Maya. You are free. And because you are free, you must go back. I felt the weight of his words settle deep within me. To return meant sacrifice. To return meant change. But I was no longer afraid. Jesus showed me the cross not as a distant story or symbol, but as the most real moment in the universe. I was there, standing at the foot of the cross, seeing every drop of blood, every lash, every thorn. He wasn't just suffering for some abstract idea. He was suffering for me, for Maya. I saw the agony in his eyes, the love that refused to let go, the mercy that broke every chain. He bore all my mistakes, my lies, my hidden fears, the times I chose vanity over vulnerability, applause over authenticity, emptiness over healing. And as I watched, I understood. His love wasn't cheap. It cost him everything. But because of that love, I was given a choice. He whispered to my heart, "You don't have to live for the world's applause anymore. You can live for my love, a love that never fails." I fell to my knees, overwhelmed by the gravity of grace. For the first time, I truly understood what mercy meant. It wasn't just forgiveness, it was freedom. Freedom from my own chains. Freedom to live honestly, to love deeply, to be real. And then Jesus said, "You must go back, Maya. Tell them what I've shown you. Tell them I love them, even when they feel unlovable." The light began to pull me back, but my heart stayed fixed on that cross, the place where love conquered death and gave me new life. As the light enveloped me again, Jesus led me beyond the cross, beyond pain and sorrow, into a place of unimaginable peace and joy, a glimpse of heaven itself. I wasn't floating on clouds or sitting on harps as I had imagined from childhood stories. I was standing in a realm alive with color, sound, and overwhelming love. The air shimmered with warmth, and every soul around me radiated joy so profound it felt like sunlight in my chest. Jesus smiled and said, "This is what I prepared for you. Not the likes, the fame, or fleeting moments, but eternity, a love so pure it never fades." I saw faces, friends, and strangers, loved ones I had lost and never gotten to say goodbye to, all gathered in perfect peace. There was no shame, no masks, no fear. I realized this was what I had been searching for all along. And then, Jesus gently took my hand and whispered, "I didn't bring you back to chase empty dreams. I brought you back to share this hope, to show the world that love wins." Tears streamed down my face. I felt a fire inside me, a burning need to tell everyone that real life begins in him. But the journey back to my body was slow. With every heartbeat, the memory of that love grew stronger, and the fear of returning to my old life began to fade. Jesus said, "Go back, tell them what you saw. Tell them I love them, even when they don't know it yet." And as I opened my eyes to the beeping machines and sterile hospital room, I knew my life was forever changed. Opening my eyes in the hospital was like waking from a dream, except the dream had changed everything. The bright lights, the murmurs of nurses, the sterile smell of antiseptic, it all felt surreal, like I was seeing it through new eyes. My body was weak, bruised, and broken, but my soul burned with a newfound clarity and purpose. The things I once chased, the followers, the fame, the applause, now felt empty, meaningless shadows compared to the love I had seen. The doctors called my return a miracle. To me, it was a second chance. But the hardest part wasn't surviving the crash. It was surviving the silence afterward. Because when I started telling people what I had experienced, many didn't believe me. Some mocked me. Others said I was delusional. Even my closest friends struggled to understand the change in me. They saw the social media star fade and a different woman emerge, a woman obsessed with love, mercy, and truth. I felt isolated, vulnerable, and scared. But in my darkest moments, I remembered his words, "I love you, Maya, and I will never leave you." That love became my anchor. I began sharing my story more boldly at first, with whispers, then with conviction. I posted videos, wrote messages, and spoke in places I once feared. And slowly, I found others who needed to hear the same message, because the love I found was too powerful to keep silent. Every day since I came back, I've carried a message burning inside me, a message of hope, mercy, and radical love. I tell people this isn't about religion or rules. It's about a God who sees us, not the masks we wear online or the personas we craft, but our broken hearts and our deep need to be loved. I share how Jesus met me in my darkest moment, not condemning me for my mistakes or my chase after worldly approval, but weeping with me, healing me, and calling me into a new life. I don't pretend I have it all figured out. In fact, I struggle with the same fears and doubts, but now I know I'm not alone, and that changes everything. My social media platforms, once filled with superficial likes, are now places where real stories of transformation and healing are shared. I connect with people who feel lost, overwhelmed, and unseen. I tell them, you are loved beyond measure. You are not your mistakes. There is a love waiting to meet you, to heal you, and to set you free. I cry when I hear their stories, because I know what it's like to live in darkness, and I am living proof that the light is stronger. Now, as I look back on the life I had before the crash, I see it with new eyes. The fame, the likes, the endless pursuit of validation, it was all a mirage, a shadow compared to the reality I now know. I am not just Maya Collins, the social media star. I am Maya, a daughter of God, redeemed and loved beyond measure. Every day, I wake with gratitude for the second chance I've been given. I use my voice no for myself, but to point others toward the love that saved me. I share this story because I believe someone out there feels alone, broken, or invisible, and I want them to know. You are seen. You are loved. You matter. Because I came face to face with the God who never stopped chasing me, and he wept tears of love for every one of us. This is not just my story. It is a story of mercy, grace, and the power of love to transform even the darkest moments. And I will spend my life telling the world